The ecosystem of SAP Concur is actually very important to us. Things like Rocket Trip have driven our cost savings to a new height within the organization. We saved $130,000 last year.
The mobile app and Tripit, those are great tools for our associates. Tripit will send itinerary automatically to the traveler. The mobile app have so many great features and automated the process.
You want to make the processes that support the business as effective as possible, making sure that the GW experience is exactly as advertised. When we send students abroad, we want them to be focused on the reason they're there, the transaction, the reimbursements, all of that. We want that to feel like you're still right at home in your residence hall. So now when I get ready to approve an expense report, I can take time that would be wasted time and turn it into productive time, no matter where you are in the world.
NEC はネットワーク技術とコンピューティング技術を併せ持つインテグレーターとしてグローバルで事業を展開しています。NEC の課題はグローバルな競争力を常に維持・確保し続けるということです。
NEC グループではNEC マネージメントパートナーを中心として間接業務の改革を進めてまいりました。SAP コンカーを導入した大きなメリットとして一つは伝承法、E文書対応が推進できるということです。これによってですね、従業員が領収書を貼り付けて提出するような工程が省けますので、領収書自体の保管なども含めて大幅な効率化、コスト削減が見込める。
The implementation of Concur allowed us to rethink our policies in line with a new strategy that we never had before.
You can use it anywhere. If I need to book a quick flight for someone, I can just log onto my phone, book it with no problems at all. Just makes the whole process so much easier.
Reporting to the UK governing body when it comes to tax used to be quite a laborious and manual process. Now with Concur we're able to produce those reports in a matter of minutes.
Discovery is a global leader in real-life entertainment all around the world. There is a purpose to our mission in travel. We're trying to get our travelers to their destinations safely, productively, and return safely.
We were using two different systems. Employees had to book travel on one system and then reconcile their expenses on another system.
Now, with Concur Travel and Expense, it's a lot more efficient.
With TripLink, we're able to increase online adoption, capture data through credit card spend, as well as invisible spend, which for a long time we didn't know existed.
All that data that's provided by Concur helps us make the right decisions. And we're not just kind of like saying, oh, we should do this. You know, the data helps us make that decision.
We're always striving to be better. We all want to achieve that to be the best we can possibly be.
Therefore, you have to pick world-class platforms like SAP Concur to make sure that we're focused on the right things and not the difficult things.
And that means you're making processes as easy to do as possible.
Welcome to the webinar. Before we start, here are some tips for you to interact with us. You are welcome to submit a question using the Q&A widget. Also, don't forget to fill in the survey form before the end of the event. Here are more tips for you to enhance your experience. This webinar is being streamed through your computer, and there is no dial-in number. All the widgets on your screen are resizable and movable. If your slides are behind, push F5 or function plus F5 on your keyboard to refresh your page. For any inquiry, feel free to contact us by email or phone. Let's start the webinar.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for attending the SAP Concur webinar on cost and compliance, two things you can still control. I'm Hermie Chu, Territory Director of SAP Concur. To kickstart today's event, I would like to share with you some interesting findings from the recent PwC COVID-19 CFO Pulse survey, which have interviewed around 1,000 CFOs around the world. As they implement return-to-work strategies, CFOs are most concerned about three things: the effects of a global economic downturn, the possibility of a new wave of infection, and financial impact on the company. At the same time, companies are embracing new ways of working, with 52% reporting that they plan to make remote work a permanent option for roles that allow, and 52% saying they plan to improve the remote working experience. In view of the uncontrollable external factors of the COVID and economic downturn, is there anything we can still control? Today, we would like to share with you how organizations can control their cost and compliance by improving the financial processes on corporate expense management. First of all, I would like to briefly introduce SAP Concur. SAP Concur has been focusing on delivering the best spend management solution to the market for more than 27 years. It drives a relentless pursuit of what's possible into everyday travel, expense, and invoice process, continuously developing new tools to automate and integrate them. Right now, SAP Concur has over 46,000 customers in 150 countries, including 75% of Fortune 100 and 500 companies, and taking up 54.1% of market share around the world. SAP Concur provides a robust and scalable cloud-based platform that can manage a large volume of data. In a typical day, there are over 2 million users logged in and up to 700,000 expense reports being processed. Here's our agenda today. Firstly, Victor Hui, Pre-Sales Solution Manager from SAP Concur, will share with us about unveiling the secrets of best practice for cost control in spend management. Then we will have Raj Ahuja, Concur COE head from Capgemini, to talk about managing and governing the corporate spend process in the new normal, leveraging automated zero-touch approach. Then Victor will join back for the Q&A section. Now let me pass the mic to Victor. Thanks, Victor.
Thank you very much, Hermie. Hello, I'm Victor Hui, Pre-Sales Solutions Manager in SAP Concur. I would like to share with you the secrets of some best practices for cost control in spend management in current environment right now. SAP Concur offers a seamless, scalable, end-to-end spend management platform that gives customers greater visibility, control, and employee productivity. The core product suite, expense, travel, and invoice, together with the network which is integrated among all global and local partners in ecosystems. With SAP Concur, you will find the end-to-end total spend management that offers in-depth functionalities based on our best practice and experience in different countries, and helps manage your spend inside and outside of your organization. For instance, you can leverage our Concur platform to audit 100% of your expenses with machine learning technology and automated audit rules. The employees across all departments, including finance department, will benefit with the values arising from connected ecosystem of the partners, apps, and suppliers, and ERP integrations. If you have some workload that you want to outsource to SAP Concur to do, it is also possible. For example, you can outsource audit services for your internal employee expenses to our Concur audit service team to do the eyeball checking and ensure expenses are in compliance with the corporate rules of the company. According to the studies from some consultancy firms, the following best practices of corporate spending will be suggested in order to drive the cost saving and cash flow in a strategic way. First, you need to boost productivity through the initiative of digitalization. This is a very fundamental step and mindset that you need to foster in your mind. Second, proactive management of cash outflows in order to have a better pre-spend and budget control. Third, you need to minimize any out-of-the-policy spending by enforcing an effective compliance rules and policy within your organization. Fourth, you also need to increase the visibility and spend governance in order to achieve the cost optimization. Let me start with the digitalization best practice on an invoice process first by walking through a day-to-day example in your organization. Imagine that you want to purchase a printer for your office. You can create a purchase request in Concur and submit for approval. When your manager approves your purchase, He or she can see the budget impact and approve on mobile or web at any time and anywhere. Once approved, PO can be automatically generated and ready to be sent to the vendor. When you receive the printer, you can also mark the receipt on your system if necessary. Afterwards, you get the invoice from the vendor through email. You can simply upload this electronic invoice to the platform or scan the hard copy of the invoice into the platform. Concur automatically extract the invoice details through the OCR technology. The key information including the vendor name, invoice date, invoice number, and amount, as well as the key line item information including product description, quantity, and amount will be captured. In this case, a lot of the data entry time has been saved. Once the invoice details are populated in the system, embedded policy checks helps me to identify any exceptions that I need to be aware of, such as mismatch of the PO and invoices. After checking is done and the invoices are matched, I can submit online. System can route the invoice to corresponding approvers automatically according to your rules. Approvers can improve on mobile or web anytime to shorten the approval process. Subsequently, the invoice can go to the finance for final checking and be posted to the accounting system. With such digitalization process in place from end to end, the finance department will save more time for better cash flow management. On the other hand, for the T&E process, you can effortlessly manage end-to-end expense claim process through digitalization strategy. Let's walk through with an example. Being an employee, I can file expense claims not only through the web interface, but also via Concur native mobile app at any time and anywhere. Suppose that I am the employee who need to take a business trip or need to get my client entertainment expenses for pre-approval. After I have submitted my request, my manager can use this or her mobile to approve it. In the meantime, the manager can check if my request exceeds the assigned budget. The manager can also see the budget trending and consumption details on mobile. If it is okay, the manager will approve them on the mobile. After receiving the approval message from my manager, I can use Concur Travel, which is a consumer-grade online booking tool, to book my flights and hotels. With Concur Travel, I can easily search those preferred airlines and hotels that are compliant to the company policy at any time and anywhere. During the trip, I pay the meal with my corporate card. Such transaction will be posted to the Concur platform automatically. After I took the Uber, since my Uber profile was connected with my Concur profile, the e-receipt from the Uber will also be automatically placed into my Concur account, thus reducing a lot of the manual input and avoid human input error. For those transactions paid by cash, I can take a picture on the receipt using the Concur mobile app. With the OCR technology, relevant expense items information will be captured and the transaction will be automatically classified for me based on the machine learning technology. It reduces the input effort. This is also very useful when the receipt is lost by accident. Concur platform will also allow the customer to put the audit rules and policies in the system. For example, meal limit. If it is over, the platform will prompt the user and manager with an alert. From the company point of view, it is to ensure compliance throughout the organization, and the employee claim behavior can also be fine-tuned. After I have submitted the expense report, my manager can be notified and approve my expense report using the mobile app. My manager can see the necessary details such as policy exception, receipt images at fingertip. Mobile-enabled process shortens the entire processing time. As for the best practice on pre-spend and budget control, an employee can raise a purchase request specifying what kind of product and services to buy, or a pre-approval request for travel or some entertainment expense. Before the manager approves the request, they care about not only the rationale behind this request, but also the amount and the impacts to the budget as well. The manager can see the near real-time visibility of the budget, how the request amount can impact the budget, where will the budget spent before the trend of the spending, etc. In order to allow the manager can make better decisions right at fingertips, he or she can also see the budget performance and related information in Concur mobile app, same as the web interface as well. Therefore, near real-time pre-spend control can be achieved. In the budget dashboard, on top of the overall budget status, you can see more details like who is spending or who has spent and how much is the amount, what is the spend purpose, when it happened, how did it affect my budget in terms of percentage. This information is very important to the budget owners as they can look into where to allocate the resources and ensure spending is in line with the budget. It helps them to make wiser and more informed spend decisions. The other best practice is about effective compliance enforcement. Audit rules can be set up to check the payment request against company policies to enforce proper control upon the submission. For example, the audit rules can be based on the invoice number, vendor name, expense type, and invoice amount to identify duplicate invoices. We can also trigger additional approval flow if the requested amount is above the certain amount. This will safeguard the possibility to overpay the suppliers and make sure that outgoing cash are really in line with the business initiatives and requirements. In T&E aspect, we see that a lot of the organizations have different T&E policies for different cost centers, staff profiles, and expense categories. For example, regional and local office employees may have different hotel spend limits. Expatriate may be granted to access certain benefits, such as club membership claims. It can be a challenge for employees, managers, and finance to understand all these rules. With Concur, you can set the audit rules with granular parameters in the system. System can then automatically check the entitlement and alert the employee accordingly. Therefore, the employees who immediately know the expense policy in a personalized way. It is more efficient to educate employees on the current policy and encourage them to become more responsible for spending. If necessary, the system can route to the corresponding personnel for approval according to ensure proper control at various situations. For better spend control, many companies would set up approval routing according to different situations. For example, claims would go to different approvers according to the spend amount, spend categories, spend purpose, and the cost owners, etc. With SAP Concur, such a logic can be embedded in the approval flow, and the system can route to the corresponding personnel for approval. Audit trail is enabled in order to ensure accountability of each roles. For gift and hospitality spend, companies in some industries, such as finance services and insurance, would require capturing the attendee information as one of the anti-bribery measures. To efficiently capture attendee names, Concur supports adding and searching from the list. Per head meal limit can also be set according to the different attendee types with automated alert and special approval routing. Such alerts can serve to educate employees for more responsible and compliant spend behavior. Capture attendee spend information can also be used for suspected fraud analysis. Also, there are some companies that worry about the hidden non-compliant expenses. One of the common sources would be hotel spend, which may hide away some out of the policy items such as laundry, TV programs, or minibars if there is no breakdown in the expense report. If employees are asked to break down the spend, it can be very time-consuming and error-prone task. With Concur, employee can simply email forward the hotel folio to Concur email address so that all the items will be automatically itemized for you to reduce the data entry effort. Rules can be set to highlight the out of the policy item and enable the employee to declare any personal charges during hotel stay. With such feature, it is very easy for the company to identify out of the policy spending. Besides flagging out the exceptions during the expense claim process, many organizations would like to have regular review of spend policy execution to evaluate execution effectiveness and room for improvement. With SAP Concur, organizations can look into pre-built compliance analysis. They can see the compliance trending, and drill down to see if certain exceptions are attributed to certain employees in particular situation. Organization can then also get the actionable insight on what to do next, such as spend policy training or policy revision. In terms of best practice on increasing the visibility and spend governance on the cash flow, a lot of companies would have different expenses shared by the other departments or projects. For example, rental costs, marketing event costs, or IT project costs, which will be allocated to different projects, cost center, or product lines. In Concur, users can easily use a drop-down list or template for cost allocation. The Concur platform can automatically route to the corresponding cost owner for approval, so that you will be able to see the granular analysis on which department or project has spent the money. The corresponding owners will know what to spend or what has been spent. With this cost allocation feature, cash flow can be managed much more precisely. In order to increase your visibility and corporate spend efficiency, you can build key metrics for your company's combined spend associated with your company expense reports and invoices. For example, you'll be able to see the trend for the combined T&E and invoice spending, what is the amount of accruals, what is the impact on your cash flows and budgets. All these spend decisions are very critical to the business survival and profitability of an organization right now. You can also see what is the life cycle or processing time of the expense and invoice submission, approval, and payment. Therefore, you can evaluate the need for changes in the expense and procurement processes. In most of the time, you may want to know more granular analysis of your vendor spend. For example, how much you spend on certain vendors, what are the top spenders in your organization, what are the spend trends for different expenses type. With such kind of information, you can have a better understanding on vendor spending status in your organization. You can also negotiate better terms with those vendors you have spent most with. When you want to have a better picture on the cash flow and liabilities in your organization, how do you do it right now without a system? You may ask, how easy is it for the accounting department to see accurately all invoices that have been received but not yet been paid? For a paper-based process, the accounting department can see those invoices only after manager approval is completed, which may be a bit late. With Concur Invoice Platform, the accounting department can have instant visibility into all outstanding payables to the suppliers. No matter what stage of the process the invoice sits, this allows business to efficiently manage their cash flow and accruals and avoid any surprises. Some customers told us that it's very difficult to get visibility into all committed spend prior to invoices arriving and being keyed into their finance system. This is particularly important for the multi-period project costs. Concur Invoice Platform can provide a report that shows all invoices received against each purchase order. This provides a summary total of the invoice receipts, and most importantly, an outstanding balance for the overall purchase order, providing that visibility into committed spend. By capturing the granular data, organizations can analyze spend in many different dimensions. They can then understand what are the main cost drivers to assist better cost optimization decisions. For example, line manager would like to see who will spend most in certain period of time so as to minimize the unnecessary expenses. On the other hand, the procurement manager would probably like to see which suppliers they have spent more with so that they can reduce their vendor costs by negotiating better rates and terms with these vendors. Moreover, if you want to spend on what matters most, you can see the granular cost analysis report for different cost centers and projects. You can see how much have been spent for some customers, projects, or events. Even the sales department can make any adjustment in their business strategy in order to optimize spending. If your organization has already been using corporate card for T&E expenses, such as Amex, Visa, and MasterCard, these are out-of-the-box integrations with Concur. This is a report showing which credit card transactions are still outstanding for expense claims. This helps you know ahead how much employees have spent, and you can reserve some enough cash to pay for this transaction, as well as remind the corresponding employees for those outstanding transactions. Sometimes the employees may forget to claim outstanding credit card transactions for those corporate card balance is paid by the company. Reminders will be sent to the employees. If there are overdue transactions, they may be notified to the employees or, when necessary, even escalated to the employee's manager as well. As a result, the on-time report submission habit will be encouraged within the whole organization, which in turn optimizes the cash flow easily for all committed credit card transactions. This report identifies expense items that were under the receipt limit in effect at the time of the submission, but were very close to the limit. The employees who are aware of these receipt limits may submit expenses fraudulently, knowing that documentation is not necessary for these expenses. Employees who submit this type of the expenses frequently may need to be audited more closely or placed into a limit group with a lower receipt threshold. Now, before coming to the end of my presentation, let me summarize what I've mentioned earlier as a summary for the best practices of your total spend management. First, digitalization mindset is very important within your organization across the board. Second, another important thing to keep in your mind is pre-spend and budget control for proactive management of the cash outflows. Third, you will need to enforce an effective compliance rules and policy within your organization. Lastly is that you also need to increase the visibility and spend governance for cost optimization. Thank you very much for everyone on the line. Hope you enjoyed this section. If you have any question, please feel free to type them in the Q&A panel. We will answer it until the end of all presentations. Without further ado, now I would like to let Raja from Capgemini to talk about how to manage and govern the corporate spend process in the new normal. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Raj Ahuja. I am responsible for driving the business traction on SAP Concur Solutions at Capgemini. Today we are going to talk about managing and governing the corporate spend process in the new normal, leveraging automated zero-touch approach. We all know how there has been a paradigm shift in 2020, specifically the way we work and service our clients due to the current COVID-19 pandemic. Work from home has definitely become a new normal. Many professionals with old school of thought always had questions on the maturity and efficacy of the cloud applications. But now, these applications are the only backbone of the massive infrastructure powering the transition to work from home and enable seamless process for managing the business. Many of the finance and administrative processes still remain non-digital, leading to inefficiencies and productivity losses to the tune of billions of dollars. It is imperative for the organizations to bring in more efficiency, reduce the cycle time for travel and expense management process in addition to the associated costs to process the transaction. SAP Concur based digital platform is the best choice to address the current needs of the organization in order to boost the efficiency of the T&D processes while optimizing on the T&D process cost. Let's now look at the key business challenges faced by the customers in the current scenario. The first one is lack of clear visibility on the spend for travel and expense, like how much is being spent on what specific categories for which segment of suppliers, the level of compliance along with the overall cycle time. The employees often do not get complete visibility of the expense payment process as end users. The managers do not have complete visibility and lack the option to drill down for the complete breakup of the cost at the expense line item level. The complete details of suppliers are more often not captured, therefore significant discounts are lost for aggregated business purchases. This leads to the second challenge, which is lack of control on the T&D spend, which obviously is due to poor spend visibility. This in turn leads to governance and compliance issues in the current scenario as the offline processes are severely constrained. There is a pressing need to enforce the policy compliance and ensure the controls for the T&E process. Another key challenge faced by many organizations is a fragmented system landscape leading to siloed approach, which results in inconsistency in the data or information across the systems. Due to the manual processes, more resource hours are spent on managing the expense, which leads to substantial processing cost. The processing cost per expense claim can be greatly reduced by automation and adaptation of cloud-based expense solution. The missing link is the lack of automated end-to-end expense management process, including the key process steps like expense creation, policy compliances, approvals, audits, and finally the processing of payment for the reimbursement. Having looked at the key business challenges in the current scenario, let me share my views on how the challenges can be addressed at broader level. With the pandemic spreading its tentacles from one country to another, the world is staring at a dramatic reversal of fortunes. It's time to peek into the future and stay prepared for what's coming ahead. So let's start with a rundown of the top 4 trends we expect to see in the later part of 2020. So the first one is safety of employees and enablement of contactless experience. The second one is need for complete automation as partial automation no longer holds water. The third one is leveraging new edge tools like artificial intelligence and machine learning to increase the spend visibility and control the frauds. And the fourth one is identification of key risks and mitigation by setting up the requisite T&E rules or policies in the system. The primary focus of all organizations is to improve controls on employee business travel and expenses. Companies can definitely analyze the historic trends, classify reimbursable and non-reimbursable expenses, clearly label the expense categories, configure exceptions and notifications to improve the compliance in line with the prevailing T&E policies. Adopting zero-touch process by digitization of the entire T&E process enables the employees to pay the expenses by corporate credit card, create claims by simply clicking a picture of the invoice from mobile device, and trigger the subsequent steps for processing the expense claim after the due approvals. Automated approvals and implementation of the escalation process will definitely ensure timely reimbursement of the expense. How does Capgemini help the clients manage and govern the process in new normal? We work with an approach of enabling a robust end-to-end travel and expense management process, bringing in an automated system-based approach, be it for the automated expense creation process, starting with the scanning of the expense receipt, or for assigning the right expense type based on an automated logic. This leads to lesser number of errors and high process efficiency. We work on enabling the system with the right policies, compliance management, audit rules, and integrations to ensure a zero-touch approach for end-to-end travel and expense management process. Based on the logic setup, the system triggers the workflows with the required levels and the requisite approvers to enforce the mandatory compliances. Enablement of mobile app enhances the adaptability and ease of use for requesters as well as the approvers while on the go. We also look at the holistic reporting and analytics needs, which is leveraged to enable the required analytics reports and dashboards. This greatly addresses the need for operational, tactical, and strategic reporting requirements of our customers from T&D process perspective. So what value does Capgemini bring as a partner to enable successful transformation of the T&D process for the customers? Capgemini has deep industry experience and expertise to manage the end-to-end transformation. We also draw upon our experience of having done the largest deployment across Capgemini Group, spanning multiple countries and covering a workforce of 180,000 employees. We leverage innovative approach to ensure successful program and change management, leveraging world-class tools, methods, and processes, while we also bring in the key elements of automation like robotic process automation, artificial intelligence, and enhanced analytics. We have experienced team and nearshore coverage across 40 countries to seamlessly manage global transformation projects. We also have a strategic partnership with SAP Concur for several years. We are a certified implementation partner and have been part of Concur Fusion Exchange since 2017. Let me touch upon the approach we leverage to manage the global T&D programs. We have a mature and structured approach for core model design, leveraging the industry best practices, SAP best practices, and consulting approach to ensure a robust global template design and build, followed by design validation and pilot site go live. We leverage mature rollout methodology and tools like Rollout Toolkit and other accelerators to manage the country-specific legal, statutory, and other requirements, which help in bringing uniformity and consistency in the processes, enable enhanced user experience, and tight integration with ERP, HR, and associated systems in the customer landscape. Let me touch upon the case study of a global pharmaceuticals major with 36.5 billion in revenues, 105,000 employees, and presence across major geographies like North America, Europe, and APAC. The key challenges that were being faced by the customer include fragmented system landscape, manual processes leading to increased cost, low levels of compliance, and no mobile interface. Poor application and operational support led to 40% offline bookings, low compliance to global contracts, and higher cost due to inability to leverage the benefit of volume discounts. The client need was to set up a system-based automated process for travel and expense management, robust analytics, centralized invoicing, and enhanced user experience. System was also required to be integrated to SAP ERP, HRMS application for employee data and hierarchy, and health professionals data application. The methodology used was global template design and deployment in waves with a clustering approach, efficient management of local, legal, and statutory requirements in close collaboration with business process owners and domain experts. The benefits include efficient and seamless process for expenses and travel right from request creation to approvals and payments, optimal cycle times, enhanced reporting and spend visibility, higher compliance and reduction in volume of the expense reports. The tighter integration ensured a robust and seamless process across the T&E ecosystem, enhanced user experience, faster reimbursement, and payment of credit card dues. So let me conclude the presentation with a highlight of our key value levers. The first one is strength of our partnership. We have a global partnership to service clients for SAP Concur deployments along with T&D process transformation. The second one is our commitment to enable high degree of process harmonization and compliance, enhanced reporting and spend visibility, bringing in our deep experience in T&D processes, the best practices and learnings from our past projects. And the third one is Capgemini Assets, our implementation partnership with SAP Concur, a team of strong functional, technical, and process experts to deliver the program, robust change management for faster adoption, and a mature rollout methodology for faster rollouts with seamless transition to application support. Thank you so much.